Hey everybody, I'm Mark here with my co-host Brandon.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Anime Junction Cast, episode number 10.
10. I can't believe we're already at episode 10. Wild, huh?
The fact that we made it this far. To start with, who knows?
Just from a
Episode 100 is right around the corner.
right, from a concept to actually making it happen. I love it. Yeah, we got some good stuff this week, man.
Yeah, so we're talking a new show that we have for the first time we haven't talked about, Ranma 1/2 with the remake that's coming out. We have a few things to say about it. A little bit more with Don to Don. Episode 7 came out, and that was a really big one that a lot of people were reacting to, talking about. Kind of like a weekly thing at this point. Another episode of Dragon Ball Daima, because that's like a for sure that we're going to both be able to watch. Had episode 6, a few thoughts about that. We had some G Kids news come down about some new acquisitions. Going to talk a little bit Ease Games. I believe that's how you say it. That Brandon knows almost entirely more than I do. They're games I haven't played, but the whole JRPG anime-esque-ish games discussion there at the end. But yeah, we can. Unless there's anything you want to get right into it.
No, I'm ready to jump in.
Yeah. So the Ranma 1/2. It's a remake of the original that aired in the 90s from the manga that's in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, 98. I want to say it came out around that time. I could be wrong in the year. I think it's 98 is when it dropped. I have to look it up.
Yeah, so the manga originally ran from 87 to 96 with 38 volumes.
Yeah, it's a big series.
Which would make sense that the anime, for sure. I knew the anime was for sure like a 90s thing.
Yeah, I'll look it up and see real quick. I'm pretty sure it's 1998. I'll see it. Yeah, okay. So, what's your thoughts on sort of all these anime getting remakes? Because there's a lot of them. Spice and Wolf, Rurouni Kenshin. It's going to happen to Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm calling it now. It's going to happen.
That's like one of the ones that it's kind of hard. I think it's could be a mixture of two things. One, you've seen it before. Hey, we're just going to remake a really popular IP, and it's a guaranteed people are going to watch. It's going to make money, essentially. Or because some of these you're pushing, 30 years old now. The IP is probably pushing itself 40 years in some cases. It's bringing them back to, an audience that probably otherwise wouldn't go back and watch, the older show from, the 90s for the most part. Like with Ranma. Spice and Wolf, I think, is different. I'm hoping Spice and Wolf is... they'll actually continue it on. We talked about it before with the... instead of taking a 15-year break between season 2 and season 3, just kind of refresh, see how much of an audience is still there. Plus, they can fix some things that were wrong in the original.
Yeah, and some of them become truer to the manga. It's either they become truer to the manga or they go even further and add more stuff in, which happens too because Dragon Ball Daima doesn't have a manga, for instance, so they're full reign on what to do, which is different for besides GT. But so it actually aired. I was way off. Season 1 aired in 1989.
Yeah, I just saw that and I was like, oh, that's crazy. Apparently there were 7 seasons. It's Ranma 1/2 Nitohin. If that's not, I might be kind of butchered it. That went from 89 to 92. So I think it's got a first season. It did well, and then it continued on for another 6 seasons. Because I believe the original as a whole was a total of 7 seasons, because you have 18 episodes in that first season, and then the next series was 143. So it's like 160 some. I can't do math. Plus, it had a film that came out in 91. There was another film in 92, and an OVA from 93 to 94. Another film in 94. Another OVA from 94 to 95. There's so many OVAs. Though I didn't know this. There was a live action movie that came out of this in 2011.
Oh no! I gotta look
came out
this
from
up.
a Nippon TV back in 2011.
I like them too.
That's so far gone because outside of the one through the mid to late 90s, there was a original video animation and OVA that came out in 2008. It was a single 30-minute episode that was done by Studio Dean and Sunrise. But I didn't even know about that any of this aired that late. I was thinking 90s to 2024 when this started airing.
I will put it this way: this movie looks dreadful. So, do you know about the Dragon Ball Japanese live action movie?
I only know about the one that shall not be named here in the U.S.
Okay, so there was a actual live action Dragon Ball. Well, you have to look it up, but I've done a short on it, and it's one of our bigger shorts. I found it at a convention, and I considered buying it. I didn't end up buying it because, like I said, I tried to stay to one focus on collecting. But I do wish I had bought it because it's actually better than the Dragon Ball Evolution, but it's still really bad. It,
how does that not surprise me at all? Uh,
I am shocked at how bad this movie looks.
I didn't have that pulled up, but I do have some stuff on screen as far as like the newer one. It's been so long since I've watched the original. There were I believe slight differences. Like you can see for sure the newer show, like when they go to like some of the battle sequences or they're fighting, a whole new style change. But I don't know if that was in the original. That was fully for this new one.
No, so yeah, some of the things that I noticed was the comedy change where they're more in. So they've more interjected the modern day anime comedy, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
the
but
bathing and stuff like that. Like that.
this still felt
That
like a comedy back in the original. Like it still is. It feels true to the
not all
self.
that happened. Not all that happened in
Like
the
it's
anime.
been like 10 years since I've watched the original. Like to be
So,
fair,
let me ask you, how
or
deep
even
did you?
longer.
I got very so like Inuyasha, which is another long running series. I got very deep into Ranma One Half. It's actually one of the first five anime like actual shows that I watched and manga that I read because I learned about it in a Shonen Jump volume and it was advertised in there and I'm like, what is this? I see it all the time. So I got I got to rent it on VHS from StarTime Video. I don't know if you remember them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they went out of business before you were here or not, but it was StarTime Video and then it turned in StarTime Video and Tanning,
I do
which
remember
is
that.
yeah, that's the place I'm talking about. So when I was growing up, it was just Start Time Video. There's no tanning yet. So I got all my anime there, VHS, rented them. So we had a VHS all the way up. I think we got our DVD player around 2002, 2003. So like we still all the Pokemon movies up the fourth movie I had on VHS. Meanwhile, my friends got DVD, and I'm like, Matthew had DVDs of them. Like, heck, man, like this looks better. But now I'm like, oh, that's I like this look. I like this. We didn't know it then. We always want better, 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 but
Yeah.
we don't realize, really. Because I would love to I would love to get some anime VHS, some of those ones that I had as a kid, stuff like that, or rented, and actually be able to watch them on my CRT because I love the look and aesthetic. It was mint and made around that. It was made around what we had at the time.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say is, I sent you a text. You didn't reply, of course. But I said, what I think these remakes are unnecessary. And I am like, a massive Rurouni Kenshin fan. It's my favorite anime. That it's cool, right? But why are it's diving into anime now, the remake culture. We're in a remake culture. Like we are stuck in this remake culture for video games, movies, TV shows. Now it's hitting anime. I I don't necessarily love it. I don't think it's necessary. I think the original Ranma One Half is great and good how it is. And they're not going to remake all 7 seasons. And
I,
if you want to say it's closer to the manga, I can't say for sure.
I don't know. I haven't read the manga.
I have read a couple of volumes of the manga, maybe like 4 of them. I haven't read all of them. But I will say it interjects more of the modern day anime comedy. The stuff that I'll put it this way: there's stuff that there's stuff I don't like or like I'm not interested in that people love. Like it doesn't bother me. I just don't like it. To me, and so like I saw it interject a lot more of that comedy into the show, and I'm like, I don't necessarily think this. I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think it's bad either. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, the original was very funny.
Yeah, because
So
this is another reason I wanted to.
comedy, like
Yeah, it's like
straight up comedy.
it's like a romantic comedy realistically.
Sort of, yeah.
I think it starts off as more pure comedy, then it goes into more. It mixes in regular comedy with more romantic comedy at times,
Yeah.
as well as the adventure, the martial arts that kind
The
of
whole
go into
the
it without saying.
whole So for 2024, it works. The whole trans thing, as far as being able to turn into a boy or girl, very much is relative in 2024. I always thought that was hilarious. I thought that was so funny, and it's like very different and unique. Like that's something I don't think
but like it did back then,
yeah.
it still plays off because it plays it off as a comedic aspect.
One of the modern day things, which it's not a spoiler, but when you first see him turn into a girl, he goes and stares at his boobs.
What teenage boy wouldn't do that? Realistically.
Right. Like,
but I mean, you brought that up, and I have, because I saw like there was like one YouTuber that made a video exactly about that, and there were two people. They are the ones that 100% yes bought into that, and there were the people that were just straight clowning on it, disagreeing with it outright, because what this manga is from the 80s, before this gender identity thing was even a thing.
The art style is so
no, but I mean just the concept of going between a boy and a girl, like that concept just never existed in the original, and I don't think it's,
and it didn't mean anything.
Some people you can look into it. I don't think it's relevant to the show, because first of all, this happened because he fell into a hot spring essentially, and it's very obvious from the get-go he's not a fan of it. He just kind of has to live with it, and his goal is to just go back to being a regular boy.
I don't think this has anything to do with any political leanings. This is the show. This
is from a manga in the 80s from Japan.
Before this was a thing. So for me, I just think it's hilarious. I laugh. I think,
but it plays it off for comedic, and you've got to hide it and stuff like that. It's just it's there. That's the what's the right word for it?
Thing that's happening to him now that he's not happy with. He doesn't like it. He's really mad that his dad made him trade there, or master. I don't remember.
It's his dad.
Okay, I thought so. His dad,
because his dad turns into a panda. He fell into a pool where panda drowned. Ranma fell into the pool where some girl drowned like 1,500 years ago.
So one of the things about the show is you gotta like those characters from the get go, because you get them the whole time.
Because you got your main two. It's Ranma and Akane, because that's your two romantic comedy. Because both of their parents just kind of set them up. That's the whole premise. It's like an arrangement. Well, he originally says, "Hey, you can pick 1-3 of my daughter," but the older ones are like, "Oh, hey, Akane, congratulations."
One was 19, one was 17, and the other was 16.
Yeah, Akane's 16. He had him like every year. It's like 16, 17, and I guess 18 or 19.
Yeah, it said 19, then 17, 16. I was like, that's a little weird, but I guess where it's going, it's kind of the arranged marriage is part of the culture, so it's like it's a thing.
Probably much more relevant when this manga was actually written.
Yeah. I mean, it's just part of it.
Well, no, actually, they do say in the show, because he's trying to pass on the dojo, and you need family lineage to kind of move on. So in the aspect of the show, because I think by the 80s, arranged marriages, at least in Japan, weren't like really all that relevant at that point. Sure. But by the nature of it, like you're an esteemed family, you're trying to move stuff on. You think of like lineage, and that aspect, yes, that would still be relatively relevant with the show.
But this is meant to be way like a different time period, like the 40s or something like that.
No, I think it's like 80s Japan. The show updates it a little bit. There's phones in this version, but the manga's from the 80s. So you think originally when the manga was written, you're dealing with 1980s. It's just a few things have been updated, but culturally, I'm sure a whole lot hasn't changed.
87 it started, so yeah. So,
but even when it came out, that wouldn't be super relevant.
I will say that one thing about this is the manga that I do remember is very old school stylized manga, which I love.
The time period makes sense.
It's very old style manga.
I'm curious, because I'm pretty sure they're probably getting it in Japan, but like a lot of other stuff, are we going to get a reprint of this manga now back here in the West?
Guarantee it. And there was something I learned. This is actually a Netflix Productions thing. So Netflix is actually doing this. They're putting the money behind having this on here, which, however you feel about Netflix, it's the most watched platform now in the world other than YouTube.
Yeah, so I'll say this, and this is from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. This is done by Studio Mappa, a well-known studio. They say the original network is Nippon TV. It's licensed by Netflix. Netflix could be funding it, but Netflix is technically licensing it here in the West.
That's what I'm saying. They're paying for it. So
they're probably part of the committee, but who knows how much money they're actually putting into it.
But it's still cool to see them do that because if they keep doing that with anime and fill up the anime, that's just better for us, right? For
Outside of those
better
of us that
for
are frustrated that you need like 4 streaming services to
well,
watch a bunch of
that's
stuff.
the thing, and I don't like that I have to pay for Crunchyroll. I don't like that I have to add something on. I don't like that the uh the Netflix. I got very lucky. I didn't actually have to use the one website that we were talking about. I did get to watch it on Netflix. That's where I saw that it was a Netflix. I think it's a Netflix Productions or something like
They
that.
said something
I
like
was like,
that, but I don't know exactly how involved Netflix actually is on
well,
this.
regardless, I would like to see them do this more because this is what we want, right? Like, if you're an anime fan, you want more ways to watch anime, and it's good. And you watch in 4K. You can watch in 4K HDR if you pay for that particular service, which is really cool. So, I mean, it looks beautiful. I unfortunately did not get to watch it at 4K because my plan is under Verizon, so I get the 1080p plan with ads now, which is really frustrating. I can't stand it.
Yeah, and I guess from
Um,
this, because I am up to episode 6. I think I started it, but I didn't get much further because there's currently, at least when we're recording this,
9 now.
there's 7 episodes out right now.
I thought there was 9. Okay,
Pretty sure there's 7.
there might be. It might be
Yeah, I'm pretty
7.
sure it's 7. So obviously you're introduced with a lot of this. We've gotten a lot of the characters. I don't know how different it is from the original. I have seen, from what I've seen from other people that talked about the comparison from the original to the remake, it seemed like it was fairly consistent, like a new coat of paint. Though some people
Yeah,
did comment that it was a little bit more, the pacing was a little bit more streamlined, a little bit faster, and
yeah,
that
you
could
can
just
maybe
be the
say that.
nature of animation to change. Like Dragon Ball from like the 80s and 90s was very much not fast paced. It was very much long, drawn out, because you're thinking the original came out probably when weekly anime was a bigger thing, but there wasn't as much anime out there.
Yeah,
So
true.
you're trying to stretch it, so you might slow down certain parts. That's just
Yeah,
hearsay. I would have to go back and actually like compare how the episodes are to like episode through like the first
could
10
be more
episodes.
streamlined. I don't. It really did feel, a lot like the original, and it did feel like a new coat of paint sort of thing. Um, I don't know if it's more streamlined. I guess I didn't really see that myself because there was still a lot of silliness that was focused on, like being hit with the table and then you pass out and
Oh
wake
yeah,
up.
because Ranma, he's like what is he calling her, ugly or something like that, and Akane
Yeah, he
just
called her ugly.
immediately slams the table and like knocks him
Yep.
out.
Knocks him out and then he wakes up in another room. Yeah, man, like I said, I love the old school anime. This was good. I thought it was fine. I had fun with it. It's something I probably want to continue to watch. So, I mean, like I said, I was halfway through episode 3. I didn't get to finish episode 3.
Yeah,
There's a lot now that I'm like interested in. So I still gotta go through Rurouni Kenshin. I have to watch it. I mean, I have to.
there's
I
always a
don't know
lot to
why I
watch
have to
going
yet.
on. But I did
There
pull it
really
up
is.
just to verify it for those watching on screen. She slammed the table on him because he was making comments about him or
Oh,
Ranma's female form having better
the
proportions
bigger
than
boobs.
Akane. Yeah,
The bigger.
slimmer waist, bigger boobs. Essentially, he's calling, she's like, he's calling her flat chested and fat. Essentially, is what he was
Yeah.
like referring to.
Yep. Yep. It was
But
hilarious
on
too.
top of that, some of the later episodes, like we're introduced to early on, it's the Tofu, the Doctor Tofu, the
Yep.
chiropractor, uh, Tatewaki, first episode, martial artists and stuff like that. And then recently here, I think it's around episode 4 or 5. I think it's episode 5. Ryoga, who's
I don't
also
know.
he's like a student that Ranma scorned. He chased him, and it turns into it's not really much of a secret because it's still fairly early on, and it's a remake, so the original's out there. But he essentially he fell into a lake that turns him into like a small little black pig, essentially.
Yeah.
So we're introduced to that fairly early on. But I mean,
Yeah.
characters like Shampoo, Kodachi, Ukyo, and stuff like that still have yet to be introduced. But I can't imagine it being too much longer because that's like some of your main
You
characters
got
or
your main cast
antagonists
already right within the first 3 episodes because
for the most part. Because
for the most part.
if I'm misremembering, what's it? Ukyo, Kodachi, and Shampoo to some degree or they're not like
They're
antagonists,
in the
but they
series.
they antagonize and it introduces
They kind of cause
romance complications.
problems. Like, yeah, they cause problems. If I remember correctly, more of like that type of deal.
But that'd be far more than I can remember. Because even if when I did watch the original, it's like a random episodes here and there that aired on like American television, and that was like
It was
early
actually on
2000s.
Tsunami. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's probably
It
where I saw
actually
it from.
premiered on Tsunami. Yeah. Yeah.
But I just
So
don't really remember anything. That would have been the last time. So realistically, you're pushing like 20 years since I've actually seen the original.
yeah.
God, it's hard
Yeah.
to think it's been that long since Toonami was like relevant on television.
When Ranma 1/2 came out, by the way, Shonen Jump was called Shonen Sunday Comics. it's I'm just looking at it here for the first
Crazy.
cover. That's what it says. Shonen Sunday Comics. So yeah. And yeah, another thing I wanted to mention about Ranma 1/2, I actually had some comic books, like not manga, comic books of Ranma 1/2. There are anime out there like Dragon Ball got some where there's actual like comic books, American style comic books. And I had a few for Ranma 1/2 and I had a few for Dragon Ball. It's just kind of interesting. It's different. You know what I mean? To see that, oh, that was so big that they're going to put it in our mainstream format because manga obviously wasn't the mainstream format here. So that it kind of made sense. It really promoted it more. So
No, yeah, that makes 100%. Sorry, I was trying to get something else set up real quick.
oh, you're good.
But I mean, did you have anything else? Like, this is one of those ones. I probably try to keep up with it because outside of never of one of the other reasons to watch it outside of this podcast is I never really actually watched the original. So with it re-airing a new coat of paint, I was like, this is a chance to hop in and watch something that I never watched or that I missed when it was still like relevant. So that was kind of like my motivations to want to come back around and watch this. Because this is one of those ones I do want to watch and then eventually try to figure out, like, probably not going to watch both full series, but like what are the differences and stuff like that.
I would like for you to do a video of like watch the first 3 of each one and say like, what's different? What do you like or dislike? I would love to see you do a video on that because watching the first 3, they're shorter. If I remember right, they're shorter episodes than what we got here, potentially. I think they're like 21 minutes or something. Somewhere
I think it's about
that.
the same thing now for some of the episodes. They're not much longer.
But yeah, no, I think it would be really cool to see that because I would love to hear your opinion on the differences. You said it's been so long you don't remember, really.
Well, I never really got into it, like not like you, Hakusho or Dragon Ball, where I 100% was like relevantly watching those at the time, and I've got good memories. This is just one of those ones I know it was a thing, but past the between when he gets hit with cold water, he becomes a girl. With the warm water, goes back to being a boy. Like that concept was always relevant, but I never actually sat down and watched the show.
So what's interesting is you were mentioning the OVAs. There's 12 OVAs of this. 12.
I know at least in Japan it was a massively popular show.
Very massive series. I mean, it used to live action movie. I wonder if it has any video games. I want to look, see if there is.
Unlike some of the other ones, I think this has a possibility to get fully adapted if it if it's still fairly popular enough.
So get this: North American publisher Viz Media originally released Ranma 1/2 in a monthly comic book format that contained 2 chapters each from 1992 to 2003, and had the images flipped to read left to right, causing the art to be mirrored. So
which is frustrating.
I had a ton of those. I had a ton of Japanese comic books, essentially. Like I said, Dragon Ball. Ranma 1/2 for sure. There was some. Oh, what's the detective show?
Detective Conan. It got called Case Closed here in the U.S. because of licensing problems because of Conan and some of the other stuff. But it's called Detective Conan.
Okay, Detective Conan,
which is a really good show and manga.
That blue dog. I forget what his name is, but he's like it's more like a kids anime sort of, but he's very popular.
I mean, I know like Blue's Clues, but it's like an American cartoon. Not even a cartoon. It's like a mix between cartoon and live action. But that can't be it.
He might not even be a dog. It's just like he might be a bear for all I know. Because
I just can't remember. Nothing's coming to mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess we can move on before
I'll pause there.
It is what it is. I didn't know if you're gonna follow up with something, but episode X. I can't speak today. Iki. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just being stupid. Episode 6 of Daima. What were your thoughts? I know you had a lot to say about this. You posted it on your Game Junction socials as well.
Yeah, so I liked it. I mean, first of all, I thought it was a good episode. Probably just because of what happened, my favorite episode so far. Um, I don't know, like how spoilery are we okay with,
I
talking about?
guess because
Because
this little
obviously,
Daima section will be, at
this.
least on the YouTube, it'll be sectioned off down below. Sorry, hit my mic a little bit down below. So if you want to skip it, just kind of give a heads up. There, you may be spoiled on a few things, but move forward as you will. Essentially, just put that disclaimer out there, and then we can move forward.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I cannot Glorio.
That Goku always messes up his name, and he always
Yeah, he says Go,
Gory or
Gorlia.
something. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's a joke on how hard the name L. I think it's L's are in Japanese, because L's and R's are very similar. I don't think there's like an actual L in Japanese. You have an R, so I think I might be getting this wrong, but I believe that it has to do something with it's just hard to pronounce in Japanese, a little bit harder. So
Gotcha.
Goku being a kid kind of makes sense.
But he said he wasn't doing it on purpose, and he wasn't. There was no like joke about it. He said, "I'm not doing it on purpose."
But he just continues to do because there was like in what episode 2 or 3 he tries to say it and he struggles.
To say it. Maybe
I think it's a mixture on how close L and R are pronounced. At least in English, they're fairly similar. Yeah. And then now that he's like a kid, kids tend to struggle with certain stuff when you're learning a language and stuff like that. Well, so that's what I took away from it. Could be wholesale wrong, but
yeah. Well, it's just a guess. So. One of the so first of all, they crash landed, right? So
yeah, right after our last episode that crashes.
Yeah, they crash landed, and one of the other key points I kind of took away was Gloria was secretly talking over the phone while walking away. Everybody else was sleeping, but what's his name opened his eyes and heard.
I think it's the Supreme Kai Shin, I believe is his name.
Shin. Yeah. Okay. So he heard his eyes were open.
Yeah.
Goku was asleep. So we know that he's already up to something.
Yeah. So because it was very explicit. He's talking to Dr. Adinsu. So that connection that we kind of suspected is made right there. We know she has something to do with it, which I think was going to be obvious from the beginning.
Into some danger for them.
But is it danger, or is she trying to potentially make a play against her brother? I was trying to figure out the name for a second. It's Degasu and Supreme News. The new Supreme Demon King Goma, or just Demon King Goma. They seem to be in cahoots, and she is kind of from like episode 1 got the feeling that she was not necessarily she might be doing something that's going to benefit her.
Yeah, but, potentially. Potentially. Yeah, and you think she's good looking, so but I mean
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so then obviously the other big thing is that Goku finally went Super Saiyan. He almost went Super Saiyan in the previous episode. Yeah, he actually went Super Saiyan 1. So as Daima. So I'm curious if these are going to be, because they didn't tell us, are these going to be new Super Saiyan forms? Or is this just him going back to Super Saiyan 1?
This just looks like regular Super Saiyan. It's a new stylized version, and he's a kid, but as of right now, I wouldn't be surprised, because the whole concept of de-aging Goku and all his friends in them was to make them less powerful. So by nature of being a kid again, he doesn't have the strength he did when he was an adult.
I wonder if they're like Super Saiyan half or something, or Super Saiyan.
But I mean, we saw other kids back in Z with Goten and Trunks and stuff like that. They were going Super Saiyan, as essentially the same age. So that would be fine.
So yeah, it wouldn't be.
But it's a different level, because
boy did it look good.
Yeah, but I think it's just a different. Your base power level's different. So when you go to that Super Saiyan, you're not at normally what you would be before Goku got shrunk down. So I think it's just if you want to play that whole power level game, so he can still go there, but it's not like he has the same amount of power.
And they started the series because Super got way too out of hand with power levels, right? They got ridiculous with power levels. They were, above. There were levels above God. So like it just didn't make sense. It started to not make sense. You know what I mean? Like there were so many Super Saiyan forms and different things that were happening that they're like, hey, let's de-level everybody. Like shrink it down. Let's this is like a fresh.
Simplify it,
story, but it's making it fresher and it's making it simpler. Because if you ask me, when it comes to the amount of Super Saiyan forms, I think there's a limit. Like I don't think that you need to be going like the God thing makes sense where he's turning red, I guess. But then you're going Ultra Instinct, and like I get it. I get it. What's weird about those Super Saiyan forms is that Goku's hair doesn't change like before with Super Saiyan 1 through 4, I guess. They're basically 3.
I thought it was 1 through 3. The only thing that really difference. I think 1 and 2 look almost the same. 3, the hair gets like super long.
Yeah, it gets super long. So what's interesting is that none of those forms have anything to do with that, and I wonder why. Wonder why they're like, because Ultra Instinct, literally he just looks like Goku with blue around him. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing different about him.
The show went from power creep to power jump. That's the problem that Super had.
Yeah.
The Z started and then Super just continued on with it.
And I just finished, well, right now, of what we have, because I believe they're adding Daima story to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, but I just played through all of Goku. And then got right to the end with Zamasu and Goku Black, and then trying to destroy the universe and basically messed everything up. They're trying to destroy everything. They wanted only I forget who around, certain people around. They didn't like Super Saiyans. They didn't like they killed all the Kais. It was crazy.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Yeah, they killed every Kai, which is crazy. Like so much happened. And I started the Goku Black story, but what I found interesting was it's kind of neat to see them do this after you had something that just went so crazy. Super is like a very aggressive version of Dragon Ball Z, if you ask me. Because you have like people that are I mean, we love our Cell and Majin Buu and Frieza and stuff like that, but we get these characters that are crazy, like Jin. And then, you know, some of these characters that come in are way stronger than the really memorable characters to us. It makes Cell look like a baby. You know what I mean? Even though Frieza comes back again for the world tournament, the universe tournament.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Goku chooses to bring back Frieza with the Dragon Balls so that they can battle in the tournament. So they team up. That's the craziest thing ever. But yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting to see how it's all interconnected. And I love that they de-leveled them, but now we're getting to see that Super Saiyan 1 form. And it feels like the first time I saw Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. That's what it feels like. It feels like the first time I saw it there.
Which I think it fits really well between the show and Daima as a whole. I think it fits in.
I won't lie, I like seeing that he went Super Saiyan, but I kind of wanted them to stay going like the semi Dragon Ball route because I want it to be a more of an adventure show. Not. I really don't want it to be just specifically a fighting show. Of course, that's a big part of it. But like with Dragon Ball, you got like the Red Ribbon Army and like smaller kind of stuff happening. And then obviously Bulma is in there. I love Dragon Ball. I love I just love the adventure aspect of it, where it's like real adventure. It reminds me sometimes of Avatar, The Last Airbender, a little bit. You had that adventure and the friends that you make and stuff like that. Like it just felt like a much more calmer show, and like I like that. So it looks like they are mashing them up. But what's your thoughts on it? You haven't really said much.
I mean, it really is a blend between Z and Dragon Ball. Because obviously in the most recent episode, Goku by far is the most powerful person there. Like he just clowned on Glorio as far as like how strong he actually was. Even though the Supreme Kai was like, "Hey, I want to know how strong he really is, so go all out." He did, and it wasn't even really much of a fight. Goku pretty much won it handily. So in that aspect, you know, he's still powerful, but I still think it's somewhat down to earth as far as the overall storytelling. Like not trying to have this power creep. It's more of the adventure. Goku, because early on he's like, "Oh, I gotta take a poop," and he asks Pansy for toilet paper, and she just like chucks it at him like she's like upset with him.
Yeah, that was funny.
So he's powerful, but he's still
silly again, like he always has been all through Z.
But it feels like there is some
less of it.
Yeah, it feels like there is some amount of regression in how he acts. He starts to act like a kid again, even though he acts like a kid, but has all the memories of being an adult, and he goes back and forth.
I kind of like it because Goku has always acted like a kid. All of Z, he still acts like a kid, right? With the
Yeah.
eating and the way he is.
But he can.
You
It feels
know,
more at home when he actually looks like he's like 12 again or something like that.
what's so funny about Goku is like I could always see him being like, like a regular kind of dad and family man and stuff too. Cause he kind of is when nothing's going on, like that's what he's doing. And I always thought like Goku could just be like a family man. This could be a different show and it would be interesting. I would watch it. I would watch the 50 episodes they make in between some big event
Oh my
and it's
god!
like
You want like
fillers.
a sitcom version of Dragon Ball Z?
No, well, yeah, like a Roseanne or something.
He walks in, everyone laughs or claps.
Everybody goes like this.
Did I do that?
Did I do that?
The Urkel.
I love Steve Urkel.
I don't know why that comes to mind, but I mean, yeah. We also, for the first time in a few episodes, got a peek back at what everybody else is doing. So
Yeah,
they don't have the
quick peek.
password because the that other character hasn't shown up yet. But they're like, hey, the ship is fixed. Let's try to fly it, and then it flies and then crashes. So who knows? That might be delayed even longer. So we know they're coming eventually. It's just a matter of how long is it going to be? And it looks like there's like what 4 seats. I don't know if what they're going to do. Some of like the endings and stuff like that show like eventually like Bulma would be there, but when they first tried to leave, Bulma wasn't there. It was what Piccolo,
right?
Vegeta, and the other Kai were there.
Piccolo and Vegeta have to be there, so I
Yeah.
feel like it's gonna happen.
I feel like Bulma needs to go because it's like
because she was an essential part of Dragon Ball. When
Yeah.
you think about Dragon Ball, she was like the secondary character for Dragon Ball.
yeah, but I mean, I guess we'll see what they would do with that. We know they're going to come eventually, but
I like.
it feels
Bulma.
like they still want to have a limited amount of time with the characters that we have the group
Yeah.
4 that we're dealing with now.
Right.
With
Yeah.
with Goku, Shin, Pansy, and Glorio. And you get the feeling that they're probably going to get that first Dragon Ball with just that group, and then everyone else is going to show up as they get to the next
I can see that.
Demon World level. That's just
can
like a
see that.
guess that I'm kind of feeling like.
Oh, and then the other guys spotted them, whatever those guys were in the demon realm.
Oh yeah,
Spotted
because
them.
it was like Goku was hiding, and it just was
Yeah.
lucky because they're looking for him because he fought them, defied them.
Yeah, so that happened as well.
So you
And
know
then
they're
we
still out there
opened
looking
the
for him.
Minotaur. The
Oh,
Minotaur
yeah.
was
He wasn't
kinda
really in there all that much, but like after Glory gets off the phone, all of a sudden he comes out, freaks everybody out,
but
and
he
then
looks evil
immediately
walking out.
yeah, it's like you're like bugging him. Then after seeing Goku, he like I'm gonna go back in my cave, sneaks away very quickly. is not a threat.
It was a fun little. It reminded me of Dragon Ball, like those fun little characters that are in one episode.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I
the
like
gag
that.
character because I think he's in like the opening because it shows him like the bowl
Maybe
huffing and
he's in
puffing.
maybe he's in the show a little bit more than we think.
Heck, he could still be for the one. It's just hey, this is coming. This character's
like
technically in the
to-
first few. Who knows how long they're gonna do with this opening? Like depending on how long this goes, 15, 20 episodes in, they could change the opening, or when they go to the second Demon World, they could change the opening.
Wait for a second season. I'm hoping that it's like pretty close and ready when that we get to that point, because
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be 22 episodes for the season, I'm guessing, and because that's normally Dragon Ball, like 22 episodes a season, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they want to do with it exactly.
But-
I'm sure they may have announced it. I just don't have it pulled up. But
I hope
then
they're
again, we don't know how
working
many
on
seasons
it
are going to be.
now.
I think how quickly they get through the Demon Worlds is going to kind of tell you. They have to go through all 3 in sequential because they got to get all 3 Dragon Balls. So
Right.
how quickly that goes might tell you, but they could get the first Dragon Ball in 10 episodes, and it could be another 15 episodes before they get the second one, and then another 20. So who knows what they're
I just hope
ultimately
we
going to
don't
do.
have a long wait in between episodes when it does come time for like going to season 2 and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I
'cause
also don't
I'm
want
really enjoying the weekly.
I would like it not to take more. I wouldn't want like 12 episode seasons and then 30 some episodes. The story's over. I am greedy and I would like it to go a little bit longer than that.
No,
but I
for
could
sure.
very well
think
I could see that
they're going-
happening.
I think they're going to be like 22 episode seasons like Dragon Ball because there's too much that happens. Like you just can't fill out with 12. You could for the original Dragon Ball, but you can't for Z, Super, or any of that. You just can't.
Those were also
just-
following a manga as well, so you kind of knew where the story was going to go and
Yeah.
the pacing they could take. And those were fairly long mangas. This isn't that, so we kind of just have to like sit and wait for the most part.
Yeah. I was looking at this article real quick. I was going to mention because we saw Gloria use that weird move that was like electric,
Like
the
the Sith lightning hands type thing.
yeah, that's what it looked like. And I'm looking at the picture; it looks exactly like that. I mean, they obviously got it from that 100% coming out of all of his fingers.
Yeah.
But it says apparently there's a difference between magic and ki in Dragon Ball.
Oh,
So
that's right. You because they did it. I think what Pansy was like, is that magic? And Goku's like, no,
yeah,
it's not magic. It's ki.
yeah. So this article is just is asking. It said thanks to Goku and the Supreme Kai's new journey in the demon realm, with the newest episode starting to raise even more questions about the differences between magic and ki. So Kai, magic does exist, is what they're saying, and so I think this was that, right?
It could be the same in one. It feel like Pansy just said it offhand, like, "Oh, is that magic?" Like she's never seen stuff like that, or they just maybe the demon world calls it something different. I don't know if it's two separate things, or they just they two different worlds call the same thing two different things, because we've seen that before.
Right, different universes. So yeah, that could be the case. Yeah, for sure. Might just be called magic there. So.
I mean, only time will tell if they want to actually solidify it or just kind of leave it vague, or it's up to the show.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I love it. I look forward to it every single week. I think it's a lot of fun.
No, it's good. No, I hit the wrong button real quick.
Oh.
But outside of that, if I properly transition now, we did have some quick little news. Some of this was on the video that I shared over on the Junction Network channel on Friday, right before we went live with the Game Junction podcast. We did get some more like G Kids news and then some other stuff. So G Kids, feels like we talked about them 2 weeks in a row now, are doing some more acquisitions. Instead of them partnering with Toho, they now are partnered up to get acquisition rights, North American rights, to Naoko Yamada's Silent Voice and Liz and the Blue Bird. I've only seen the Silent Voice. I haven't seen the other one. I believe the other one is more of it deals with like instruments and stuff like that, from what the actual G Kids Films Twitter was posting.
Is that all the studio has done? Are those two?
That's that. I believe it's the not the artist, but like the writer director, the person that like is responsible for actually making the IP.
Okay.
But I did watch A Silent Voice, which I thought was really good.
Is it a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. It deals with being deaf, essentially. It's sign language and stuff like that, and bullying and some other things. I think it's a really interesting movie. But on top of that, because apparently she has a new film, The Colors Within, coming out later. A Silent Voice is getting a limited run here in U.S. theaters from G Kids on the 15th and the 16th of December, which I think is really good. And it kind of goes and we talk about, like, I'm excited for what G Kids is doing, because they're, it might be a little bit later, but we're getting more theatrical releases that otherwise it would have been a straight to DVD like a year after the fact type thing.
Yeah. I think it's cool, man. I like seeing the stuff air in theaters. I think it's a great way to watch and experience like these movies. So there's nothing like the theater experience. There just isn't.
It's wholesale different watching a movie at home and watching it in the theaters.
Yeah,
but at the same time, this wasn't by G Kids. This was posted at Annie News and Facts over on Twitter. The Color Within is for sure getting a Blu-ray DVD release February 26th of next year, 2025. Don't know yet. It would be nice to see this film get an actual theatrical release. But at least we know we have a Blu-ray DVD release date for this film. And I don't know anything about this film. Looks like from the poster, it looks like some kind of dancing potential movie. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know anything about this movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I mean, it's just nice that we got some of that stuff. As well as
one new thing that I did want to bring up that Megan Thee Stallion is channeling Sailor Moon these days with the help from Jimmy Choo. So I did want to bring up that Megan Thee Stallion's doing a whole Sailor Moon collaboration with Jimmy Choo as well. So
I don't know who Jimmy Choo is, but I know I would listen to Megan Thee Stallion if her music wasn't just dog crap. But
hey, I'm not supporting the music. I'm just saying she straight up took a picture she put on Instagram in a Sailor Moon outfit, and it's her collaboration.
That's a no for me, dog. That's all I'm gonna say
I
about
do
that.
love my Sailor Moon, but that's going to be a big no for me too.
But on top of that, I just saw this today. This was posted by at manga Moguruda. Yeah, I can show it on screen because it was kind of cut off a little bit. What they posted. But apparently, High School DD spinoff, Junior High School DD, is apparently having a big announcement tomorrow, I believe, Sunday the 17th of November. It's tomorrow from when we're recording this and when this will be coming out. They say tomorrow. This was posted 12 hours ago from recording this, so probably be early Sunday morning for us, but like actually during the Sunday over in Japan and stuff like that. But I don't know anything about this. I didn't know there was. I knew there was about spinoffs, but not this one. You can kind of see a quick little description on screen. You know, it's a if you know anything about High School DD, which is originally a light novel, got at least like 4 or 5 seasons of an adaptation.
Sure.
And I don't think we're still waiting on this. It also got a manga. I have some of the manga and the light novels. I've been slowly collecting them when I do because not every store has everything. So I pick up what I can when I'm at a bookstore for that. But
I'd
this
be
is
interested to see what happens with this, just because I did like High School DxD. I did like it, or High School DD, whatever you want to call it. I liked it. I don't know anything about this, so I'd like to at least know what it's about.
it's going to be pervy in some way because that's what it is.
That's
But
my problem. If they're talking about middle school, then that's sorry, it's not for me.
you haven't watched enough High School. Who knows what they're going to do with it? But if this is a light novel spinoff to some degree, I don't know anything a whole lot about it.
Yeah,
This sounds like they could be announcing a.
We don't know about.
Maybe we're getting a manga. This is either a manga announcement. I can't imagine this being in a English adaptation
novel that we already have or something, right? Like it could
I don't
be based
know.
on something that's already out.
I don't know if this light novel got English adaptations, but I can't imagine that being the big announcement. My thinking was probably going to get an anime announcement for it to some degree, but whatever we get tomorrow for this, 100%. My plan is to hopefully, if I can actually get it done, because the goal is I want to have like Monday through Friday on the Junction Network, like a short little like 5-minute like a news segment. I 100% when we get this news, I want to make a video and have that out by Monday. That's my goal.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Because like I'm a huge High School DD fan. By the nature of, I've got a Rias PVC figure. I've got the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray DVD. I think I'm still missing the 4th season. Then I'm getting light novels, getting manga. It's quickly become one of my favorite shows, and that's outside of it being perverted. Because behind the pervert, there's a really good story there.
I really liked it. I told you, I sent you a picture. I still have a Blu-ray of High School DD.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw this and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm sold. What's going on? I haven't heard anything about this series in forever, other than it's
It's been a long time, man.
New light novels and stuff like that.
It's been a long time for sure.
Yeah, but no, I guess we can go in because tried to watch this. I know you didn't get that far. You got like the first episode. Because I
Down to Dawn, yeah.
Yeah, for Dawn to Dawn, I did really want to like get your thoughts on this show because I think if you deal with like the occult, kind of interesting. So you have like aliens but the spirits they're actually calling they announced in it's either episode 5 or 6, I believe.
We'll get caught
no,
up
either
on
6 or
this
7, I believe, is where they said these spirits are actually called yokai. That's what they're actually calling them.
Is this a Yokai Watch? What's Yokai mean? Because Yokai Watch was big in Japan, ain't here. It'd be interesting.
So the word yokai in Japanese is a term for supernatural beings, spirits, and phenomena such as monsters, ghosts, and demons. So Yokai Watch might just have ghosts and demons, but
kind of all of them. Yeah, interesting, man.
It's like outside of aliens, or it's like an all-encompassing term for like supernatural. It's like a very specific term, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, what you thought, where you're at, and stuff like that. And since I've only gotten to episode 1, that's kind of on me. I want to hear what you think, and for the audience.
Yeah, so I absolutely love the show. I got a few episodes behind, but as I was catching up, because all of a sudden episode 7 blew up on social media as far as like not what you expect. Because the first few episodes, you're dealing with spirits and stuff like that, but it has a lighthearted comedic undertone to a lot of it. Like it didn't feel like it took itself too seriously. But once you got to episode 7, which I'm not gonna spoil, it's right now. Unlike Ranma, this is a new show that's not based off an older show or a manga or an old manga like that. But it all of a sudden was like, this went from really serious to like, or from really lighthearted to really serious, and a little depressing actually. And some of the themes that it took place with, because like the episode before, you get a new character, Ardia, a new pink-haired character, but she kind of comes off as kind of mean-hearted at times, which kind of pisses off Momo, and how she interacts with Okunun. In some degree, kind of, you see jealousy, which is, I think, is kind of like comedic and fun or funny.
I like the characters.
Yeah, as well as how they deal with Turbo Granny. So if you've watched the ending to the show, without getting too spoilery, if I haven't already gotten there, I apologize. But that cat in the ending becomes relevant like at episode like 5 or something like that. It becomes a new character.
Okay, interesting.
As well as how Arya kind of becomes relevant in that, because she has like a golden ball. But I don't want to spoil anything for you or the audience. But that becomes relevant and stuff like that. In relations to Momo, Okunun, and Turbo Granny, it's like an ongoing thing. But obviously, what they want to do with the story, they kind of had to go down this route. It definitely makes sense, but it always adds a comedic side to it. But it allows for more insight on what's actually going on that Momo and Okunun don't know about the spirit world and stuff like that, or I guess you would say like the supernatural.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, I want to pull it up on. I wanted to bring up.
Oh, you're good.
The actual characters, what I was talking about on screen. For those watching, what Adi looks like, and off to the side you've got Momo. Her face is kind of cut off and stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of be relevant of what that character looks like, because she's the first of like some other characters, especially in the introduction, that you have that you meet. The other character you see in the introduction that we have yet to meet is Gigi. So obviously this is based on a manga, so that's why we know some of these characters. Right. But he's in the opening, but we've yet to actually see him. I can't imagine he's probably about to come into the show and stuff like that, as you kind of get your, I would assume, the core cast. I don't know anything about the manga, so I could be wrong on that. But I mean, this.
If you read any of the manga, because
no, I was just going to this brand new with the show, but I mean, it's kind of interesting how this show is kind of lighthearted, not super serious, and then all of a sudden, at a left turn, it got super serious, but it did it in, I don't want to say jarring or a natural way, but they did it really well. I do know there were changes that I see on social media from the anime, from what the manga did, obviously, just by the nature it's a different medium, but they did it really well.
Right.
And I think episode 7 really solidifies like why I think this is going to be a really good show moving forward, because it comes off lighthearted. It brings you in with a lighthearted comedic show, and then it just like bashes your head over with a bathtub, pot, pan, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember what it's actually called. It's relevant when Momo first meets Adia. That's why I brought that up specifically. It's like a bathing tub pan, but right over the head with the feels. And you're like, oh my god, this got serious and depressing at the same time, but it's so good.
I love it. I love that that you're enjoying it. I love seeing other people's reactions on X all the time about it. I keep seeing posts constantly about it. So I definitely need to catch up, and we'll get to the point where I'm episode to episode with you, and we'll be able to talk about everything. I'm
gonna keep pushing this.
The spoiler thing, it's like, I don't know how much we can not spoil things, because we are a podcast, so we kind of have to
so it's always that thing. I think it's a natural thing. If you're watching something on, whether it's podcast, that's why I try to bring up, or you're watching something like on YouTube or something like that about a certain thing, you have to assume that you could be spoiled if you haven't seen it. That's the route I take. Or you follow social media profiles where they may not get super spoilery, you can get somewhat spoiled. So you have to. That's what the thing. Like, if you don't want to get spoiled, you need to watch it first, stay off social media, or at the very least, don't watch videos. But even then, I still like to stay as vague as possible, because I still want people to kind of be into it and watch it and stuff like that. But sometimes, like when we're talking about Daima, it's like, hey, we're just gonna talk about the whole episode, so viewer beware. But like something like this, like if we were up to speed on it, probably would have been much more spoilery about the show.
Sure. Sure.
But this is
Yeah.
one of those shows I wanted to keep watching
More than
weekly.
welcome to talk about, whatever. I'm still gonna watch it.
I don't want to
regardless.
spoil it for you at the very least, but I think it's one of those things because this is one of the ones I want to keep up to and probably talk about. There's like a handful of ongoing stuff we're talking about now, at least for the fall. So like we're always gonna probably talk about Daima. I do want to get to this. The Ranma probably not gonna talk about next, or we're not gonna talk about it next week. And there's some
What
other ones
about
that we want to watch.
Rurouni Kenshin? Because season 2. When does season 2 start?
I can't remember. I still need to finish season 1. I haven't finished it
I
of the
agree
remake.
too, but I'm saying I would like to keep up with that when it comes
Yeah.
out. I still need to watch season 1.
So I
too.
guess we need to find out for that one, and then when it comes out, just make sure we're up to date.
That can be it could be another like Daima situation where we're going to talk about it every episode.
Yeah, I mean, you can always. There's a lot of stuff airing, so there's always something to talk about. But obviously, we're gonna have episodes that we kind of or shows that we come back to, just because they're shows that either you like, I like, or we both really like, and we want to watch and talk about. But I don't want to. Not more than like a handful, but there are shows out there where it's like 100%. I love this show, and I want to talk about it every week.
Sure. Yeah.
Just that you have a passion for something, so why not do it? It's our podcast.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's up to us to, if you don't like spoilers, then it's not going to be for you. But we do talk. We try not to spoil like the big things, I guess, sort of. But we kind of do at the same time because like the Super Saiyan Goku stuff, I unfortunately saw it before I even watched the episode because it was on X. Somebody posted an image. I was like, I didn't know if it was real or not, but yeah, it was real, which made sense because he just tried to go Super Saiyan. So. The episode before that.
No, yeah, but at the very least, I look forward to getting your thoughts on this show, just because it took a left turn that I didn't expect. Obviously, if you read the manga, you would have known about it. I'm saying like, all right, now I'm curious to think about this show, just because it deals with a somewhat of a subject matter that I feel like would interest you, dealing with the supernatural. Maybe not horror itself, but
I thought it was weird. The intro, I still can't get over the intro.
I love the opening to the song.
It's like it's bizarre. But no, I like the concept, the stuff, the spirits, the demons, all that stuff, all the occult stuff.
Because I mean, Yu Hakusho was like that. It wasn't horror, but it dealt with the occult, more demon type stuff. But it had a lot of the same spirit and stuff like that.
Demon spirits, yeah. It dealt with all that stuff too. We talked about this. A lot of anime do. A lot of anime deal with spirits and demons. I mean, even Dragon Ball, for God's sake.
It's just a really relevant topic in Japanese mythology. So
I mean, you think about the horror movies, obviously, like The Grudge and stuff like that, and which is called Ju-on there. You think about that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and then before, because I mean, we talked, just in those little areas, we definitely talked a lot about hitting an hour almost.
All right.
Just because I want to talk about, kind of tie this back into maybe a little bit of Game Junction. I want to talk about some games that are more JRPG anime related. This is a game that I brought up, and I'm not going to lie, was a little bit more last second, which is kind of bad on me for Brandon, but he has played these games and I haven't, but he keeps harking on me when I play them. So it's the Ys games.
Yes.
There's a lot of good game series that are out there. This is one you've been harping on me for sure.
I really, really, really want you to get into it. So we talked. Do you remember when we talked about the NEC? What was it? The NEC? I think it's 90. I'm trying to remember the computer. So like Turbo Graphics and the PC Engine.
Yeah.
The PC Engine computer, but it had the games, and you were interested because of Tenchi Muyo and Ys and stuff like that, or at least Tenchi Muyo. And I've loved Ys for a long time. Like I played I played Ys on TurboGrafx and PC Engine. I played translated patches. It was also on TurboGrafx CD, which is really cool. So you got like FM stereo sound and stuff like that, and it looked slightly better. But I love Ys because I played it on the PSP. I played it on the PS2. I mean, I just had so much. There's also so many. There's a new one about to come out, by the way. I don't know.
Actually, I thought it just came out because I had the Steam page up on the other screen.
Pre-ordered
because what's it? Ys X or Ys 10 Nordics? At least the Steam page said it came out October 25th, 2024.
I have that.
Yeah. I thought that was the most recent release of the game series. Obviously, there could be another one because didn't this come out like a year earlier in Japan?
Yeah, the new one that comes out is I guess what you would call, it's not really a spin-off. It's still part of the main story, but I'm gonna find out what it's called here. But I just saw it comes out like next month or something, I think. But it's one of the E's, I think, Origin games. So it's like let's see, E's games. I'll look it up. But yeah, E's. Yeah. So I haven't got to start Nordics, but it plays. I've seen some gameplay and stuff. It plays very similar to the three prior. So Monstrum Nox may be my favorite E's game ever. I absolutely loved that game. It's one of my favorites. Lacrimosa of Donna, very good. Again, just a game you would love. These past 4 E's games are like right up your alley. I would like to see you get into the earlier ones because like a lot of them are really, really, really good. But they're definitely more traditional Japanese games. So for instance, like you could go back and play like for instance E's Origin, which was a PSP game, right? So obviously it says the name Origin. So it's the first game in the series. So that's more of one that's up to date enough for you that I feel like that you would get into.
Yeah, but I mean, I was playing back the old, like the first Trails games, which are from like what, early 2000s. It's that old turn-based
like
RPG.
Real old tradition, like the E's game. We're talking about coming out late 80s, early 90s, stuff like that.
But isn't all that still like the turn-based pixel type top-down?
It is turn-based, but it's very some of it is you really have to grind to get through. Like some of it you really, really have to grind, just like some of the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest.
Or like
so
OG Dragon Ball, or not Dragon Ball, but OG Pokemon, where you have to like grind.
Pokemon, yeah. There's a lot of grind, and that's one of the things with like a lot of the earlier ones. There is a lot of grind in them. But I would say like for you, like even going back and keep in mind, this is completely different than the games now. The games now we have are like almost action RPG-ish.
Yeah.
That's what's popular now, right? But although traditional turn-based is coming back in other ways, we're getting that. So that's really, really cool to see. But no, we're getting E's Origin is on the Switch, so you can play it on the Switch. I forgot about that. But I'm trying to look here to see what the new one that's coming out, because I was like, hold on, wait, we're getting another E's game? We just got one? I was a little confused, but yeah, it's coming out. So 2020. Gosh, I can't find it. I have a pre-order on Amazon, so I'll take a look on there and see what it's called. But well, do you have any interest in checking out the series? Because I mean,
I 100% do.
Quest game, you would like the early E's games because they're that traditional.
I think I'd like all of them. It's just the main problem is there's a lot of JRPGs I want to play, and they all require a few dozen hours of playtime to actually play and beat. So it's just here's another like 20 games of backlogs between like the Trails and the E's games that just automatically exist. And then you've got, Final Fantasy that I want to play, the Dragon Quest games. Becomes a massive list of games. And I'm like, this is going to take me like a few years to get through all these games.
And here's one of the other things you have to keep in mind. We also got Tales of Grace's F coming out. So we got a new Tales game. You got to remember that. And then we're also getting the Suikoden collection. The HD collection is dropping. I'm looking at my pre-orders.
That's like a decade's worth of games to play it right now for me with how much free time I have, to be realistic.
We also have the big game we both thought looked really good, Fantasian, which looks really, really good.
Yeah.
That was coming out. Okay, so here's the easy game. I was like, I can't be crazy here. All right, so this is the one coming out. It comes out, let's see. This is that's a collector's edition. So for people watching videos, sorry, audio listeners.
I'll try to get something a little bit better on screen as well.
Yeah, so it's E's Memoir, The Oath of Felghana, D1 Refined Edition. So this is like a little collector's edition. When it's $60. It looks to be a more turn-based E's game. So it looks to be like the old school E's games. And it comes out January 7th. So just around the corner. We're getting another E's game already, which is really cool. And so it looks like maybe they're going to do the whole thing where, like Yakuza, sort of, where you've got the traditional RPG series and then you've got like the new style E's games, and they both still work together. Not really spin-offs, because like some of these games that you would like, maybe you would think as a spin-off is not really a spin-off. It's part of the main story. It's just its own thing connected to the story, if that makes sense. It's still connected. Yeah, so it's all connected. But yeah, some of them have like standalone stories where you can play just that game. Like you could jump into Monstrum Nox Lacrimosa Donna, or you could jump into this brand new one and you would be perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not like you have to go all the way back, play one and go through and the full story type deal. But yeah, I definitely I would love to see you check them out. I did want to mention so one of my favorites is Ease 3 Wonders. It's just called Ease 3 Wonders from the Ease. It came out in 1989. Of course, developed by Neon Falcom, is the third game in the series. So this is the one that was on. I played on TurboGrafx CD, but it was also on Famicom, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, MSX2 computer, Sony X68000, and it looks like that's it. So, but there was a remake of Ease 3 for the PS2 as well. I forgot about that. The Oath of Felghana. So, definitely. Oh, wait. Okay, so this is all right. So the one that we're getting is just put two and two together doing that. It's called Ease Memoir, so it has something to do with the remake of 3 because it will say the Oath of Felghana. So that makes more sense that it looks traditional because it has something to do with that. So maybe it's connected to the story, maybe it's a remaster. I don't know, but I'm definitely grabbing it for sure. I mean, $60, and you get the collector's edition for $60.
Yeah, when's that supposed to come out?
That comes out January 7th.
Yeah, so it's about 2 months away.
It comes with looks like the set comes with $60 for the whole set. Comes with a soundtrack, microfiber cloth, acrylic keychain, diorama set, and 4 postcards. I mean, for $60, that's a really good deal, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would say it is.
70 standard now, and you're getting like a collector's edition for 60. So,
yeah, but hey, definitely appreciate anyone that's supporting this here at the end of the podcast. Let us know what you think about it. You know, what you love, you hate, what you like to see more of in this podcast and stuff down below in the comments. Give us a like, a sub. Next week, I don't have anything we'll be talking about some new anime as well next week. I just don't have anything prepared right this moment when we're recording it. But we're going to be talking about some more stuff. We're still going to be probably talking about some Daima and some other stuff and some new games and stuff like that. But we appreciate everybody's support.
I just wanted to let everybody know we do stream every single week, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I meant to say that.
And also our podcast, the Game Junction podcast, is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. So there's 2 days in a row of content. So definitely check those out as well, for sure. Yeah,
all our streaming stuff is on the channels on YouTube. It's all on our socials, or you can go over to the Twitch at Game Junction Media, and all our streaming schedule is going to be there as well. We definitely appreciate everybody's support. But yeah, 10 down, another 10 to go, hopefully.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out, everybody.
See you later.